like in the workout and stuff. So it's been 2 weeks. Our goal for these 2 weeks was to get our carbohydrate intake down under that 10% line that we set in MyFitnessPal. So I'd love to hear how that went. Who is getting their carbohydrates under their line? Yeah, good. Under their 10% or less. You've worked it. Okay, good. But you worked it down lower and lower. Okay, who's hitting it? Like you've hit it at least once in your adventure. Who completely ignored it? Okay, good. It's good to know. Yeah, I mean, it only works if you do it, right? So we have one more week left of Spark. And in this week, I would really like to make sure you get that experience of getting your carbohydrates that low. There's a lot to learn from that. And so I just want to make sure you guys get a chance to actually experience it, because that is the protocol. That is the nutrition protocol of Spark. So go ahead and open up your MyFitnessPal logs. And let's get a little bit of an idea of where we're landing on our macronutrients. Okay, here we go. Protein, your average. Oh, do you guys know how to pull up your reports on averages? So you go to nutrients. First, if you're on your home screen, you'll click on those three nutrients, protein, carbs, fat, and they have the little wheel that fills up as you eat. Click on that box where those are, and it will take you to your reports. And then at the top center, it says nutrients. You got to click on that. And then you got to make sure you're on yesterday before you switch to week view, so that you don't include today's numbers in your average, because today's not complete. Everyone got their averages up? Doing okay? Thumbs up if you have it, so I make sure everyone's there. Yep. Barbara, are you there? Okay.
That's because I got logged out and stuff.
Oh, so you're not logged in right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, got it. All right, so in that report, who did 100 grams of protein or more on your average? Your average is above 100. Dang. Shoot, we're like 50%. Okay. Okay. Carbohydrates, under 100 grams every day on average. Under 100, raise your hand. Your average? No? Okay. Fats. How many of you were getting over 50 grams of fat a day? Raise your hand. Easy peasy, right? Okay. How about 75 grams? Over 75 a day. A couple of you. Who was getting over 100? Okay. Good. Yeah. So Spark is high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrates. If you're actually going to try the protocol out, you'll have to get to those numbers. You'll have to actually experience that to see how it affects your body. So today we're going to get into why this works and what this causes the body to do. So what effects it has on the body long term. Go ahead and pull open your InBody Scan app. Let's take a look at that. Let's see in the last 2 weeks, I'd like to know if we're getting an improvement towards your goals on your InBody scans. So how many of you gained muscle mass in the last 2 weeks since I've seen you? 1, 2, no, right? Okay, right. Okay. How many of you lost body fat in the last 2 weeks where your fat dropped off? Oh, nice. Good. Okay. We're looking at like the 2 week stretch, because you should have 2 scans in there. Okay. How about you ladies? Nothing? So in the 2 week period, did you lose fat? Okay. Cool. Yeah? Good? Yes. So there's also, Justin is doing the program. He is at 10% of carbs or less. And when you're actually doing that and bringing your carbohydrates down like that, there's going to be a huge change in the body in terms of water weight. Like carbohydrates and water bind together. They stick together inside the body. So when you have less carbohydrates just floating around your bloodstream and in your body, you have less water, period. If there's less carbohydrates in the cells, you have less water in your body because there's nothing to attach to. You'll probably notice when you actually decide to do this, you'll also need to increase your electrolyte intake. The electrolytes are not powders that taste sweet. The electrolytes are minerals in your body that control the electrical flows of the body. Salt, potassium, and magnesium. Those are electrolytes. I spoke to somebody this week who thought electrolytes were sugar. That is not what electrolytes are. They are packaged with sugar so that you want to drink them. Remember marketing and all the food companies and what they do to our food to get you to take them? One of the things they do is they take electrolytes, which taste gross. If you've ever actually tasted them by themselves, they're pretty gross. You ever take magnesium just straight in the mouth? It's rough. Potassium's the same way. It's rough. But if you add sugar to it, you'll take it, right? So you don't have to use the packages that are filled with sugar or sugar substitutes to take your electrolytes. You can just take some potassium, some sodium, or magnesium. They exist in all sorts of forms. You can just go to the store and go to the vitamin section and you'll see them. Salt, potassium, magnesium. The only one you can really overdo is magnesium. That one you can overdo. It'll just clean you out real good, real fast. Take it easy on the magnesium. But salt and potassium, you'll just pee out the extras. Yeah.
Is that the way that you would recommend that we get them as like to go?
I think the best one we found is a dropper. And it's just, I don't know the brand. Do you know the brand? Do you? No, we're talking about electrolytes. We'll get you the brand. We have them at our house. It's in a blue bottle and it's a dropper and it's just the electrolytes. And you just drop it into your water. It does not taste good. It's gross. Yeah. One day I had a headache. Funny story. And I was like, I got to get this in now. And I don't even want to wait to drink a whole bunch of water. So I did this. It was so gross. It was so gross. It didn't burn. It was just like, oh, so bad. It worked though. The headache was gone in a couple hours. Anyway, they're gross, but the other thing you want to look for is just like bioavailability. So potentially if you take it in a tablet, a lot of it gets peed out. I don't really know, but I do know that this liquid one has no sugar. Yeah. No, you got to order it. I wish Josh was here because he knows this electrolyte dropper thing, but I'll take a picture.
Is it the trace mineral one?
Blue. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. He's got it. He took a picture. Oh, okay, there you go. Cool. All right, so that's one of the things you'll see when you bring your carbohydrates low is that because of that loss in water, you might need to up your electrolyte game to help with some of that. So someone was talking about cramping. They're experiencing a lot of cramping with less carbohydrates, and they're like, I need sugar. You're like, no, actually, you probably just need electrolytes and water. Okay? Good. Good, so let's get right into it. Why high fat? The reason we need high fat is because your body does need energy. So when you cut out the carbohydrates, which is the body's preferred method, the preferred source of energy, you've got to replace it. You've got to give it another fuel type. And the fuel of fat is pretty cool because it lasts a long time. It takes a long time to break down a fat molecule and turn it into a usable energy. We're going to talk about the actual pathway of that, but you guys have this experience. If I gave you a lollipop and had you suck on it, you would immediately see your blood sugar go up. You might even get a little energy surge. You'll get a bunch of just sudden, or if you give it to a kid, right? Maybe you guys are over lollipops. Give it to a kid, right? And boom, look at all that energy. Okay? It's immediately available. If I gave you a stick of butter to suck on, you wouldn't get the same spike. Your blood sugar wouldn't spike. If you gave it to a kid, they're not going to suddenly have some like hyperactivity going on just because they sucked on some butter. It doesn't affect us the same way. And that's because the fat coming into our body has to go through a number of processes before we actually get to feel that energy and use that energy that's being produced. Okay? So it lasts. It's like that slow drip of energy because the body has to go through all those processes. Anyone noticing, those of you who actually are increasing your fat intake, anyone noticing more sustained energy throughout the day so they're not experiencing the dips? Yeah? Awesome. Yeah, there's less crashes because, again, you have this slow drip coming in from the fat you're eating. Fat is important for every cell in the body. We can't do without it. I don't think anyone's trying to do without it. We're kind of over that whole fat-free phase, but we absolutely need it for every cell and every tissue in our body. It's part of the structure of the cell. Our hormone production. Fat is the resource the hormones need for their structure. So without fat, and if we're in a deficient stage or deficiency of fat, we're messing with our body's ability to produce hormones. Just like if you don't eat enough protein, the body can't produce muscle mass because it needs that. It's the building block. That's the same thing for our hormones. A lot of men in this country, in the United States, are experiencing low testosterone by 35, 45, right? That's a hormone. Testosterone's a hormone. Why are we having a hard time with our hormones? One thing that could be related to that is not getting enough fat. Women are going through menopause, going through changes in their cycles. Of course, there's all the interventions we do and interruptions to our hormones that we do, but also not getting enough fat. The building blocks of the actual molecule can interrupt your hormone production. Women, you guys probably remember this from your high school days, your high school sports days. They warn you when you're young that if you don't eat enough food and you exercise rigorously, you will actually stop your menstrual cycle because you don't have enough fat. You don't have enough fat on board and you don't have enough fat through your diet. We dealt with it every semester at the college with our cross country and track girls, not eating enough and then losing their cycle. Hard stop because their hormone production can't keep up. Cool. There are vitamins that our body absolutely must have fat in order to absorb them. And without fat, you become deficient in those vitamins, like vitamin E, right? You can even see it in vitamin E because of the structure, right? It's like oil, D as well, and K. And then we have, it helps with satiety. Anyone noticing they're not super, super hungry because they're, yeah. Yeah. So that handles cravings. Right? Cravings come when your body's like, give me food, right? That's what mine sounds like when it's hungry. But when it's eating fat on a regular basis, it's like, I'm cool. I don't need anything. That can be good. It also can be hard. If you have muscle mass goals and you're trying to increase your muscle mass, you need to be eating enough protein. And so if you're eating really, really high fat, it suppresses your desire to eat protein. It can get in the way. So you got to find that happy medium for your specific goals, right? Taylor was doing heavy cream every morning, which made her not want to eat for hours. So that means she's missing opportunities to eat protein, which then suppressed her protein intake. So you guys, this is all about you having this experience and finding what's right for you. So did you switch to half and half or to milk? Yeah. So to lower the fat intake in the morning so that she could eat more protein. But it works really well for satiety. Here's the big one. When we talk about health, you guys know what the mitochondria is, right? It's that little piece inside of each cell. It's the powerhouse of the cell, right? It's called an organelle. It's a little tiny piece inside the tiny, tiny cell. That little tiny thing is what's actually producing the energy that we use, the currency that we use to do everything, to move, to exercise, to grow hair, to see, to digest, everything. Those things, we can either have lots of them or not a lot of them. We can have strong ones. We can have weak ones. Okay. We can have lazy ones. We can have productive ones. We want to have lots of them and we want them to be strong and productive. Just like your muscles, if you don't use them, your body will adapt to not using them, give you less, give you weak ones, and so you won't have them. Your body won't be able to produce energy as efficiently as if you were using them. It's the same as your muscle mass. So how do we use them? How do we train them? How do we make them work so that we can have more, have stronger, and have better ones? Well, fat. Fat has to go through the mitochondria. It has to. We cannot utilize the energy out of fat without it. And so by eating high fat, we are making them work. It is a form of exercise for the mitochondria. By eating high fat, they will also duplicate. You will have more of them. You can have little bits of them ratio-wise, or you can have lots of them. Athletes who are fat adapted, meaning they can use fat as energy, and who are exercising have more. They have more little tiny powerhouses inside of each cell. Crazy. You can actually have more engines in your car. That's what that means. Like, instead of one engine, let's have two, have four. Could you imagine what your car could do? It could drive itself. No, I'm just kidding. That's something else. So in order to do that, in order to have that, we have to make them work. And we do that by eating high fat. Then we have, it creates that flexibility. So now you have all these mitochondria. They're awesome, productive. You have lots of them. And now when you don't have carbohydrates available, it's okay because your body can utilize the fat on board because you have mitochondria that are ready to go to work, break down that fat and turn it into energy. But when you don't have strong, healthy, productive mitochondria and you don't have carbohydrates available to you, instead of your body going, oh, let me just get with the program and use the fat I have on board, it goes, oh my gosh, I'm going to pass out, right? Because it doesn't know how to use what you've got, okay? I think all of us, except for maybe Taylor, has plenty to be used up still, right? I think so. I still do. And so I want my mitochondria to be able to tap into those fuel sources on my body, okay? No offense, Taylor. Moderate protein. Why do we need moderate protein? Well, we can't eliminate protein. We need it, right? Again, these are the structures of our muscle mass, structures of our tendons, our ligaments. We need protein to build our body, our hair, our nails, all of it. So we've got to have protein. We can't get rid of it. It also gives us a slow release of energy. It's not as slow as fat, but it's slower than carbs, for sure. Sucking on a piece of steak lollipops, right? Not going to give you a big spike in energy real quick. Excess is turned into carbohydrates. So when you take in a lot of protein and it's more than your body needs, the body just breaks it down, rearranges it, turns it into a carbohydrate. Okay? So if we want our body to be able to utilize fat as energy, then we need to keep our protein moderate, because if we go high on the protein, we're just going to end up with carbohydrates, which our body prefers as a source of energy over fat. So again, it's going to find the easier route. Break down the protein, turn it into carbs. We'll use that instead of the fat. This is specific for health and for getting those mitochondria to produce, be strong, and be productive. See what I'm saying? Okay. For other folks who are just, they have their health, they're metabolically flexible, and they're trying to build muscle mass, the program might look different. It might look like high protein, which is what we did in Buns and Guns. It's a different nutrition protocol. Okay? Any questions on that? Low carbohydrates. So I think we've got the point now. If you keep dumping carbohydrates into the system, your body will use carbohydrates as energy. It's easy. It's fun. It's fun to eat. So we love them. We're created to love them. We've talked about that. It's easy to overconsume carbohydrates, so keeping them low, right? Because I get this all the time. Well, how about just like some rice? How about just some, like a quarter cup? And I'm like, I mean, cool. Do it. Do a quarter cup of rice. Keep that in your diet. Good luck with that. It won't last. Rice is too yummy to keep to a quarter cup. It just is. Like we have way more success if we just don't do it. Because I hope this doesn't offend anyone, but I also don't care at the same time. It's like alcohol, okay? Like alcoholics, once they recognize there's a problem, they stop. They don't go, I'll just have a shot here and there. Once they recognize that this is a problem for me, they stop completely, okay? So hopefully you guys are reading your articles. Are we all addicted to sugar? Most of you are. Some of you don't realize that you have that addiction, but most of you are. Most of you are set up. Your body is now set up to constantly eat carbohydrates. You are addicted to carbohydrates. You're addicted to sugar. Most of you are. So once you see that and recognize it as a problem, because it is a problem for your health, what's the answer? Do it sometimes? Stop. Yeah. That's typically a lot easier than I'll do it sometimes, because that sometimes gets out of control real fast. So easy to overconsume, quick energy, raises your blood sugar quickly. That's a problem, because when our blood sugar goes up super fast, the body has to react. Those reactions are stressful. Those reactions are not good for our health. Our insulin gets dumped out to try to pull that sugar out of the blood and into the cells. Eventually our body goes, whatever, I've seen you every day, every hour, I don't even care about you anymore, and stops responding to insulin. And then we become insulin resistant. The body tries dumping more insulin, and then the body's like, oh, whatever, it's just another flood of insulin. It's a little tidal wave of insulin, whatever, no difference. And then the next thing we know, we've got diabetes. That's like the reactions, right? So we want to keep our blood sugar at a nice steady rate so that we're not going into these stress zones for our body. And of course, because it's so easy and we don't have to send the sugar molecule through the mitochondria to use it as energy, our mitochondria get lazy and they don't build, they don't multiply, they don't get strong, they don't get efficient. No demand for metabolic flexibility if you're just sucking down sugar all day long. Anyone know anyone who sucks literally through a straw sugar all day long? One sugary drink after another sugary drink, usually starts as coffee in the morning, then an energy drink an hour later, and then another energy drink, and then another Red Bull, and another, right? You know those people? Yeah, they are constantly feeding their body sugar. Sugar and caffeine, sugar and caffeine, sugar and caffeine. And so the body has no necessity to work. It's a complete bypass of the system. Cool? Making sense? Great. So we're going to look at the system. So these are the pathways. This is what is happening to the food as it becomes energy. So we have, I'm going to stand here, sorry. Is this okay? So we have our carbohydrates, gets turned into glucose, gets turned into this thing called pyruvate, gets turned into lactate and hydrogen, okay? Now this is its own energy right here. This is the mitochondria. This can certainly be sent to the mitochondria to be broken down and used as energy, but it doesn't have to be. It can just go straight into becoming energy right here into this system. This system is completely outside of your mitochondria and uses carbohydrates without the mitochondria working. Cool? Protein can either go, it turns into an amino acid. That's the building block. It can either turn into glucose. Remember I said protein can go carbohydrates. That's where it gets turned into a carbohydrate. This is just the name of the processes. Okay? And then it goes down the same pathway. Or it can be sent to the mitochondria, right? But which one's easier? This one or this one? Yeah, carbs, this one. This is faster. This gives you energy faster. Fat has no choice. There's no choices in fat. It has to go through the mitochondria. There's no other way to convert fat into energy. It gets broken down into fatty acids, which is the basic building block of a fat, and it goes into the mitochondria, or we get the ketones. That's actually a byproduct, and that also goes into the mitochondria, right? And so no matter what, if we're going to use fat as energy, our mitochondria have to work. But if we're going to use protein as energy, we have a choice. And if we're going to use carbohydrates as energy, we have a choice. And the body's going to make the easier choice. Our bodies are very smart. They're lazy as heck, and they're going to go the easy route as much as possible. Making sense? So that's why if we shut down these pathways as much as we can, this is what trains our mitochondria. That's what gets our mitochondria to work. This is how we build our cells' muscles in producing energy. This is just a representation of the mitochondria. And then this is called, I don't know if you guys remember this, the Krebs cycle. Yeah? 5th grade? 6th grade? Okay, whatever. It's just the cycle that happens inside the mitochondria that actually produces the energy, known as ATP. You guys remember ATP? Okay, cool. So there's the ATP spitting out. This is the waste coming out of that cycle. That's all that is. Okay? So those are the pathways, and that's why we need fat. This is a representation of that blood sugar we were talking about. So insulin is the result. It's the hormone, the signaling that says, yo, we got to get the sugar out of the blood. Remember my little blood sugar example where it showed lots of sugar in the blood, moderate, and then what the body actually is okay with? So anytime that goes up, when we eat a lot of carbohydrates, it goes up pretty quickly. The body has to react with insulin. And the insulin is basically just opening the door to the cell, saying like, whoa, we got to get the sugar out of the blood and into the cells. So insulin's that key that opens the door, open the door, open the door, get the sugar out of the blood, get it out of the blood, get it out of the blood, right? That's what insulin's doing. And so with sugar intake or carbohydrate intake, right, this is the amount of insulin being released within 30 minutes. It's what it's showing. So that's 30 minutes after you take in the carbohydrates or sugar. Boom, tons of insulin. It's like evacuate the bloodstream with the sugar, get the sugar out, right? And so that hopefully if your body is still insulin sensitive, the cells go, oh, insulin's on the move. Let's open up and let's take out the sugar. Take in the sugar from the blood. The amino acids, look, spikes, right? You see that? Why? Because of that conversion to carbohydrates. So the blood sugar goes up because it's converting some of that protein, the amino acids, into glucose. And then again, insulin has to react, or insulin gets sent out, and then the cells need to open up to pull the sugar out of the blood and into the cells. And then look at fatty acids. There's like barely anything happening there. Yes, there is a small increase, but pretty crazy, huh? It's drastic. Look, this is under 10. This is up to 50. That's in volume. Crazy. That's a huge difference. We're talking about one meal. Now imagine doing that 10 times a day, 20 times a day, every sip of your nasty Dutch Bros drink. Blech. I hope they sue me one day. So that's what this is all about, okay? And I really, really hope that you guys will take a chance to try it, because this is what is changing health, is more fat, less carbohydrates, and for most of us, more protein. Only 4 of you raised your hand when I said you're getting over 100 grams average. Yeah, you did? Good job. Good job. Yeah. 100 grams is pretty low for a CrossFitter. It's pretty low on average. And you might be getting like 120, 130, and then boom, 70, 60, right? So we need to get that up consistently above 100. Our plan for this week, this is our last week. I really, really hope those of you who haven't hit your goals yet will do it, experience it. So our plan for this week is that you get that final experience, and then we'll do an after action report. It's like a military thing where you look at what went well, where did you struggle, how can we think about it differently? How can we think about what we're doing differently to have more success towards our goal? So we'll do that together next week. But the game is, there's no difference in the game. Get your InBody scan, cook at home, no processed food, no sugar, and then hit your goals in MyFitnessPal. That seems like the one that we really need to do this week. I think that's where we're falling short. And then get your workouts in. How many of you got all 10 of your workouts since I saw you last? Great, 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 great. That means just 5 a week. Yeah, okay. And then meet back here next week, same time. Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
So like when we're looking at the packages as we're shopping, and we're looking at like the three carbs, fat, and protein. With this challenge specifically, do we switch it to be the winner in fat and protein then carbs?
Not necessarily. If that's a quick cut thing, it doesn't necessarily apply to what we're doing here. Yeah. So when we're looking at packages, the thing you're looking for is the ingredients. In terms of the grams of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, we're not particularly concerned about that. We're looking at ingredients. Are there added sugars? Are there things added to it that's not actually food? And then are there seed oils, right? Now, when you're logging your food throughout the day, you're going to see that you can only afford so many carbohydrates. And so when you're getting your milk, right? And when you're picking how much milk, you're going to buy whole milk. It's high fat, right? So whole milk is whole milk. They should be relatively similar. Fairlife does a process where it puts more protein back into the milk, so you get more protein if you go Fairlife. But you're picking how much milk can you afford within your 10% of carbohydrates, right? Or your calorie intake being carbohydrates. Once you run out of carbohydrates, what do? Well, you're just going to eat protein and fat. Nuts, meat, cheese, that's it. That's what's left, right? So you have like a cap, and you can plan where you want to spend your carbohydrates. I would spend mine on milk because I like milk a lot. But you might choose to spend yours on berries or spend yours on, I don't know. What else? What are you spending yours on?
Right now,
Dates and berries.
Dates and berries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I can sweeten something with.
I like to think of it like you have a budget each day, you know, and you're rich in some areas and you're poor in others. Yeah. So you're figuring out where to spend it. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? Okay. Well, we have one more week. Super excited. After this is the CGM challenge again. So we're going to run the CGM challenge at the end of the month. And then in September, we're going to run our last nutrition challenge of the year, Quick Cut, which is always, the last hurrah before the holidays. And we take the holidays off when it comes to our education programs on nutrition. So I hope you guys will participate in that. Quick Cut's focus is getting fat off the body. It's not a health focus. It's not a muscle mass building focus. It's get fat off my body right now. That's Quick Cut. And we do it in a healthy way. But it is our most popular program, is the Quick Cut. Most of the gym has been through it. And if you haven't been through it, you should go through it. It teaches you a lot about how to manage, you've done it obviously, how to manage your nutrition for less body fat. Okay? All right, guys. Good job. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you guys in the morning on Monday, right? Or afternoons. A lot of you are mornings.